Welcome to my favorite plot copycats, where we take a Hollywood movie and we compare it to a B movie that rips it off or homages it in some kind of way. Today, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about Expendables, but instead of Expendables being ripped off by a B movie, and I understand that Expendables itself is already an homage to all the 80s and 90s action movies, actually it's going to be a reversal. I kind of am going to put forward the case that Expendables is kind of a plot copycat of a B movie made in the 90s. Let's talk about Expendables and Shadow Warriors. Now, what do I mean when I say that it was sort of ripped off? You know, normally when we do these episodes, I have the screens on this side here with the movie up top here, right? And then the B movie down here, and we talk about just watch the scenes play out, the rhythms of the cuts, and the editing. Lines of dialogue will pop up, entire set pieces. I really like the idea, and I'm sort of half kidding, right? Like, I don't think that Stallone just wrote down notes and ripped it off. There's going to be in a few minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes that I strung together for the editing. But before that, I just want to talk about conceptually what is Expendables about. Obviously, in the movie, they're mercenaries, expendable, like you can kill them and toss them and throw them away. It doesn't really matter. But as a Hollywood vehicle, what we're really talking about is a collection of action stars like Jet Li and Dolph Lundgren who had careers in the 80s, and sort of reviving them, and they mixed them with newer stars like Jason Statham and Terry Crews. But that's the basic idea. Well, in 1997, Hulk Hogan made this movie Shadow Warriors. He actually made 2 movies, and they're very confusingly named. I'm going to go over this right now. So there's Shadow Warriors 1, there's Shadow Warriors 2. Shadow Warriors 1 is like Assault on Devil's Island, and then I think Shadow Warriors 2 is Assault on Death Mountain. They're or Skull Mountain. I'm not sure. I should have written it down. It doesn't really matter. It gets even weirder. So in 97, one comes out. In 98, the next one comes out. But they both also were released with the opposite titles. Like Shadow Warriors 1 was released as Shadow Warriors 2 and vice versa. And what's weird about that is that in what's arguably the first movie, the team forms together. So the second movie, if it's placed as the second movie, it's actually a prequel, because then the first movie had the team already in action, and that version where the team's already together actually was filmed in Vancouver. Okay, it's pretty much the same thing though, right? You've got a grizzled old war veteran mercenary guy who's like warrior culture and tattoos and bikes and stuff like that. He rides around on motorcycles, he flies around in a cargo plane that's like his base of operation for him and his droogs. What else? One of the guys is going to betray the team. Some of the locations going into the South America or Central America, where the villains are and everything, a lot of the locations look very similar. And then again, we have the concept, right? Expendables. So who is in Shadow Warriors, right? The main guy that I mentioned is Hulk Hogan, right? So you've got an 80-star wrestling phenom, and then got into some movies like Suburban Commando and whatnot. But by the late 90s, his career is going to be waning. These are made-for-TV movies, right? Then you've got Carl Weathers from Predator, from Action Jackson. Like, Carl Weathers is legit like an 80s kind of action dude, right? And, you know, in Predator, you could tell he had minigun envy, because they give him the gun in this movie, and he puts it to good use like he's been waiting for it for all this time. Shannon Tweed is put into it. Shannon Tweed is a Playboy playmate, now wife of Gene Simmons, but back, I don't know, maybe she was married in 97 to Gene Simmons, I don't really know. But she is the uncontested queen of erotic thrillers in the B-movie direct-to-video genre. And here she's doing some kickboxing, and so they do something that even the Expendables don't do, which is have a woman on board. You got Billy Drago from, I'm going to say Tremors 4, and Takashi Miike's imprint from Masters of Horror, but he's done a billion things as a character actor. Martin Kove, who now everyone is, if you don't know the name, bad guy from Cobra Kai, but he was the bad guy from the first Karate Kid. He was in Rambo 2. You got Billy Blanks. You got to explain who Billy Blanks is to people, okay? But Tybo, you got to remember Tybo, okay? You don't. An entire generation right now listening to this is like, oh my God, Billy Blanks.
Hi, I'm Billy Blanks. Welcome to Tybo. I want to give you a little bit of information about what Tybo is. Tybo is based on boxing, martial arts, calisthenics, dance, all combined into one form of exercise that you need to help you get in good shape.
It's more fun than just doing jumping jacks or running in place, you know? I mean, I've taken so many different aerobics classes, and it's boring. Within 5 minutes, I'm bored, and I'm ready to leave. But I'm addicted to Tae-Bo.
People don't want to go on vacation because they don't want to come back out of shape. This is the funniest thing. We're all thinking like, God, I gotta wait for 3 days. I'm going to Acapulco, but I'm gonna miss Tae-Bo.
And the last one I put on the list is Trevor Goddard. While the name isn't going to be super familiar, if you grew up watching the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie and you remember Kano, who is pretty distinct as a character, that's Trevor Goddard. All these people are in this movie, this pre-Expendables expendable. The visuals of what they're wearing and everything, it all falls directly in line with what you'd come to expect from it. So, I don't know, I'm half joking. I really love the idea in my head that, you know, Stallone in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, was doing some sort of press junket or something for a movie, or maybe he was just laying at home one night and pay-per-view, late-night cable, something comes on this, and he's like, hey, my friend, you know, Terry Hogan's doing a movie. Hey, this is pretty good, man. What if I put my people in it, kind of thing, and, you know, took some notes, because just overall, it's very samey, got a kind of samey kind of vibe. As soon as I watched these B-movies, direct-to-TV movies, whatever you want to call them, I was like, is this where they got Expendables? Because this is like the real Expendables. People that are really expendable. Sylvester Stallone's not expendable. Jet Li's not expendable. Jason Statham's not expendable. Terry Crews is a star on the rise. These Shadow Warriors are expendable. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is about 5 minutes just edited together. And stick around for the end where you get the credit sequence, which has nothing to do with Expendables. I just think it's absolutely hilarious. So yeah, right here at the start, we're going to do our opening credits and everything like we always do, but I believe the scene after that I sort of took from the continuing open credits here where Hulk Hogan is doing his warrior mysticism thing where he's dancing around a fire at night. There we go. Throwing knives at targets, which, again, it's not direct, you don't need to care about the dialogue here, it's not similar, but Jason Statham's throwing knives shtick, his skill and everything, just, again, it's just a simple comparison, but it feels, I don't know, it just feels a little similar. So I moved it, obviously the main knife throwing scene with Jason Statham's at the end of the movie, and this is the opening credits from Shadow Warriors 2, but yeah, what you gonna do? Now, the motorcycle scene with Hulk Hogan is actually from the other Shadow Warriors movie, but again, it's all part and parcel. Like, I don't think that if Stallone was inspired by this, I don't think he was taking lines of dialogue and editing shots or anything like that. He was just getting a feel. He was like, this is going to work for me, this entire aesthetic, you know, warehouse spaces and badasses.
Sorry, mate. Battlefield reflexes.
Okay, so now we've also got Gunner, played by Dolph Lundgren, is this insane character that they can't trust and ends up betraying them, and he's one of their own crew. Similarly, when Shadow Warriors, you've got Trevor Goddard, who's the unstable one who can't be trusted, and sure enough, is going to betray them within the span of this movie. The other dynamic I wanted to also highlight in the scene is between Carl Weathers and Hulk Hogan, which is that they are similar to Stallone and Statham with this banter back and forth, the good buddies that are always, you know, kind of bugging each other. So we see some of that here, anyway, with Christmas and his love issues and all the rest of it, giving each other a hard time. This is kind of standard stuff. I guess you could have also put in here the scene with from Predator in the helicopter where everyone's getting ready and tooling up, because these are standard scenes, or in Alien where all the Marines, like, this is standard action stuff, and I get that, but there is something that is directly, specifically comparable, I think, between these two films. And Carl Weathers is obviously unbelievably charming. And then the plane, obviously the plane. So in this scene, Martin Kove this is about in the middle of the movie. Martin Kove is going to tell them that they can't go back. Hulk Hogan's be like, we have to go back to this island, or we have to go back, and we have to, I left a man down, brother. And Stallone is like, hey, no guilt, man, I gotta go back too, you know? So both movies in the middle, the guy's like, we have to go back, we have to, you know, save the girl, we have to save the friend. The friends are like, oh, we're not going with you. No guilt, man. You know, we got to do this more on our own or whatever. It's just a very similar turning point in the movie, I guess. And then again, like, the villains aren't, like, so similar or whatever, evil CIA, manipulative, whatever, but the berets on the henchmen, that sort of, I don't know if it's like a Cuban, Central American military thing, but it just seems coincidental to me that they have something like that. The locations here, you can see the domed sort of brick roofs and everything. Again, it's not... These are not big. I'm not trying to make a case here that this is the end-all be-all and that this is all stolen. Some of these are cliches and some of these are going to be very common tropes and areas where people are going to go to do the fighting. But when you add it all up, like, it is just basically exactly Expendables. You know, they're all setting the charges now, and we're going to be coming up on a wicked fight scene, I believe, in a second here too. Now, in Shadow Warriors, it's between Hulk Hogan and Billy Blanks. And in Expendables, I think it's Stone Cold Steve Austin and Stallone. And again, it's not the specific choreography that I'm looking at here. This is really about the physicality of how brutal the fight is. These like two tanks or silverback gorillas just like colliding into each other, going through brick walls. And I don't know, it's pretty brutal, as we're looking at right here. I mean, Stallone got hurt in the original Expendables I think, during this fight scene, if I'm not mistaken. And Billy Blank has the Tybo on his side. Now, the final thing, I think, there's only one thing left I'm going to talk about, and then I'm just going to leave you guys to it, is the final credit sequence. And this has nothing to do with Expendables. I'm only including this for funds, okay? But basically, once everyone's done, the team is sitting there. Here we go. The team's talking about, you know, are we going to be a team now? Are we going to move forward? Are we going to have, you know, we're going to do missions together and everything, and they all decide to leave the Marines? Navy? The Navy. The Navy? I only watch these movies. I don't actually know any of the military stuff. I don't care. Anyway, they're going to go into a slow-mo, like Tarantino, Reservoir Dogs style walk towards the camera. You know what I'm talking about. Do that. And that's really cool. We know that works, right? From all the different movies. Except that nobody told any of these guys how to do it properly. So they're going to start walking in slow motion, and it's like nobody told the extras. For a second it looks cool, okay? And then people start walking behind and in front of them, and traffic starts rolling as they're doing their slow motion walk, which looks so corny. And then, as if it wasn't even worse, the credits start just scrolling up the screen like really, really fast, which just, it looks like, yeah, all right, hurry up, come on, we're done here, it's all over, you gotta move on. So anyway, here we go with the slow motion shot. Should I just, maybe I'll just hang on. There's no dialogue here now, it's just me rambling. But so at first I'm like, okay, they're walking slow, it's a little corny, there's, you know, a little car, a little scooter, forklift, whatever that is behind there, and you're like, okay, but then nobody's cutting. Like, look how many people, and this car is just blocking the shot, and now the credits are just like, if you have slow motion and you're going in slow motion, then the credits should match the amount of drama, and this does not. Anyway, tell me I'm wrong and I thought way too much into this, and if you want, in the comments below, I'm here for it. That's totally fine. This is just for fun though, right? And I'm only half joking when I say, hey, what are you talking about? I didn't steal nothing. These are tropes. This is the tropes. So, thanks everybody.